Hey there, crypto fam! Welcome back to the channel. It's so good to see you again. I've got some seriously exciting XRP news to share with you today, so grab your favorite drink and let's dive right in. I really hope you're having an amazing day, no matter where you are in this incredible world of ours. So here's what's got me pumped up today, and this comes straight from X-Finance Bull. XRP just topped the sentiment charts. We're talking about outperforming every single major project when it comes to community trust and attention. And guys, this isn't just some random spike. This is pure conviction building up before we see real-world adoption take off. You know what they say, good vibes always come before big moves. Don't ignore the signs. Here's what I think is really going on behind the scenes. People are moving past Bitcoin and Ethereum now. Why? Because with XRP, you can still build a decent-sized bag without breaking the bank. But that's only part of the story. The other part? Most people take one look at that XRP chart and think, I absolutely need to own this cryptocurrency. The potential return on investment with XRP could be absolutely massive compared to Bitcoin or Ethereum. Check this out. Google Trends worldwide shows Bitcoin interest actually dropped after that October pump. Fewer people are searching for Bitcoin right now, and we're seeing this major shift happening in real time. Here's the thing. As Bitcoin's price keeps climbing higher and higher, retail investors just can't afford it anymore. You're not buying whole Bitcoins, you're buying tiny pieces. Think about it for a second. From where Bitcoin is sitting right now, we might see a 2x. And I'm being generous here. That's probably all you can expect in this run. Those people telling you Bitcoin's going to $1 million in 2026, that it's up only, that's just to get retail excited about Bitcoin so they can be used as exit liquidity later. Here's the reality. OG Bitcoin whales were always planning to sell. They're pushing this narrative that as older Bitcoin holders sell, new buyers are entering the market. But we're seeing the trend change right before our eyes. Even institutions are looking past Bitcoin now. They're on to the next big thing. The Bitcoin ETFs did well because they had first mover advantage. Just like everything with Bitcoin, it gets the media hype and first mover advantage every single time. But here's where it gets interesting. As new options pop up, like the XRP ETF, Solana ETF, Flare ETF, HBAR ETF, these institutions are going to start shifting their money. We've seen this pattern in other cycles too. Now there's talk about a black swan event coming, basically a banking system collapse. The traditional financial system might be transitioning, and most people have no clue what's coming. If your money is sitting in the bank, I'd be pretty cautious right now. I don't know exactly what will happen during this system swap. Will we see a complete banking collapse? I'm thinking it's more likely we'll see a gradual transition from the current system into a digital one. But here's what I'm really watching: that liquidity crisis that's still lurking in the shadows. I think we're going to see a major crash in both commercial and residential real estate. Even people outside of crypto are sensing something big is about to happen. But the black swan I see coming for crypto: regulations. And whether this looks like a disaster or an opportunity totally depends on which cryptocurrencies you're holding. If you're holding utility tokens, you really don't have much to worry about. Sure, we might see a major correction, but then I think we'll witness the rise of utility-driven cryptocurrencies. And speaking of utility, get this, JP Morgan just called Ripple a heavyweight in the CBDC era. Juniper Research ranked XRP's solution as #1 among global CBDC providers. Why is this timing so perfect? Because the European Governing Council just decided to move forward with the digital euro and accelerate the launch process. Now, here's something we need to talk about that most people don't fully grasp yet. We already know XRP is tied to Central Bank Digital Currencies, but here's the kicker. XRP can move anything of value. Think about it this way. Say the EU decides to go with a stablecoin. XRP can move it. If they stick with the current euro system, XRP can move that too. Same thing here in the United States. I know we're pushing back against a central bank digital currency, but we're still going to have a digital dollar. And guess what's going to move it? That's right, XRP. No matter how you slice it, XRP is emerging as the world's bridge currency. It's not about replacing other currencies. It's about connecting them all seamlessly. At the same time, you're seeing this massive push for universal basic income everywhere. Every single day on X, people are saying, if they just give us UBI and not require us to work, the world would be a better place. But guys, be very worried when something comes for free. It always comes with strings attached. Here's what's really going to happen. You'll get that universal basic income as AI rises, and that's definitely coming. But it's going to be programmable money. What does that mean? It disappears. You either use it or lose it. At the end of the month, whatever's left just vanishes, and then you get your next monthly allowance. This is exactly why I always say you want to stay invested in crypto, because we're invested in the robot money, but we have control over it. Here's something fascinating. I believe there are going to be parallel systems in the future. The BIS has actually cited this before, and so has the ECB. You're going to have the CBDC system with UBI, Universal Basic Income, an alternative system, which could very well be the crypto system, a third parallel, which is cash, but they want to eliminate that eventually. Check this out.
The ECB plans to introduce a holding limit for the digital euro, set at $3,000 per person. Let me break down what this really means. Say you're holding $3,000 in digital euros. The moment you hit $3,001, it automatically goes right back to $3,000. You literally can't save money for a rainy day. You can't put money away to maybe start a business. Once you're on this system, it's completely controlled by them, with all kinds of limits on what you can do with your money. And this isn't just the EU doing this. According to Smoke's research, we're seeing live CBDCs around the world, with holding limits in Cambodia, the Bahamas, Eastern Caribbean, Nigeria, and China. Some have daily spending limits, others have caps. Think about this scenario. You want to save up money to buy a new car, and you're on universal basic income. You literally won't be able to save that money because it's programmed to disappear on a certain date. That's why this system is fundamentally flawed from day one. But yet everybody seems to want that universal basic income. Be careful what you wish for, people. Now, Brad Garlinghouse makes something crystal clear about XRP that I think everyone needs to hear. He says XRP isn't about who holds it.
What is XRP, which is a technology, an open source technology that is kind of native to our products? We use XRP in our product stack, but there are scores of other companies building in and around the XRP ecosystem. You know, people will say things like, well, XRP has a CEO. And I'm like, who is it? Ripple has a CEO. That's me. There's scores, if not 100 other CEOs building around the XRP ecosystem. And I think that's when I hear people say that, I think, okay, they're not educated about what's going on. And so we need to educate people. Obviously, you see that in a number of other tokens where there's a very distributed, very open source community. You know, people don't understand. Ripple does not control XRP. It is open source. There have been amendments passed to the XRP open source technology that we opposed. We were against them and they still passed. That's okay. That's open source technology. There's other things we have championed that have passed, but it takes 80% of the community approving those amendments, which, Ripple doesn't have control of that.
That's the difference between speculation and infrastructure. And he's also telling you that XRP is not centralized. Ripple does not control XRP. But every single time you talk to somebody about XRP, what's the first thing they say? Oh, it's so centralized. It's the banker's coin. Why would you invest in that? Invest in the Freedom coin, Bitcoin. Here's the thing, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm going to invest in what is the future. When Ripple's out there making partnership after partnership with all these banks, and in the future, these banks are going to be utilizing XRP, that's where the smart money goes. You can stick with the Freedom coin narrative all you want, but I'm positioning myself where the actual infrastructure is being built. Here's why Ripple's approach is absolutely brilliant. They're not fighting the banks. They're not saying, oh, we're just going to replace the banks or replace the US dollar. That's exactly why we're going to get rich off this cryptocurrency. Think about it. They're working with the system, not against it.
That's smart business. And that's why XRP has a real future. As time goes on and technology continues to advance at breakneck speed, we're going to watch XRP's price change very quickly. But here's what's really interesting. As technology moves forward, it's leaving Bitcoin in the past. That's exactly why Bitcoin will become irrelevant. And let me tell you something about these Bitcoin holders. They're absolutely delusional when they say you buy it and you hold it forever and you never ever sell it. Really? Wouldn't you want to buy some things with your Bitcoin? Wouldn't you want to take some profits here and there? Of course you would. That's why Bitcoin holders are selling right now. They know what's coming. Wall Street just announced that tokenization will change global markets, and gold is next. We already know that tokenized gold is going to absolutely boom with the rise of tokenization. So here's my question. If you can buy tokenized gold on the blockchain, why would you ever buy Bitcoin? Bitcoin is supposedly digital gold, right? Well, I see that narrative holding up only until actual digital gold is moving around the world on a daily basis. Once that happens, Bitcoin becomes irrelevant too. Everything we're seeing right now is a massive shift into the new, and we're leaving the past behind. Honestly, I think Bitcoin is part of the past. It was a great test coin. I'll give it that. I don't even hate Bitcoin. I think it was fantastic for its time. But the world is shifting now. Everything's going digital. Everything's about real-time payments that are fast, cheap, secure, and energy efficient. You're not going to have something in the future that consumes massive amounts of energy, especially when we're about to see the rise of carbon credits. Everyone thought carbon credits went away for some reason, but carbon credits are still coming. Imagine you're a
Bitcoin miner and you've got to offset all that energy usage. It's going to cost you so much in carbon credits that it won't be profitable anymore. Bitcoin maxis will argue, well, then the price of Bitcoin would have to rise so miners can still make a profit. That's not going to be the case. With the rise of AI, which is also very energy consuming, they're going to shift away from Bitcoin mining over to AI development. Why? Because AI is the future, and Bitcoin mining will become something of the past. Try arguing that with a Bitcoin maxi though. They'll immediately tell you, that's never going to happen. It's going to be with us forever. It's the hardest money in the world. There's nothing more scarce than Bitcoin. But actually, there is something more scarce than Bitcoin. It's called QNT. Wait until that utility powerhouse starts to rise. Watch how quickly people will FOMO into QNT once it hits above $500. People will rush in the same way they're going to FOMO into XRP. And that time is absolutely coming. Until it happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. Thank you all so much for watching. I genuinely appreciate every single one of you. What's your take on the Bitcoin versus utility token debate? Drop your thoughts below, smash that like button if this gave you a new perspective, and I'll see you in the next one.